why CPAs and tax attorneys call a max-funded IUL the rich person's Roth. So in this episode, I'm going to explain this because max-funded IUL actually knocks the socks off of a Roth. That's why I say on my YouTube channel, which is the truth, I've never owned an IRA or 401k. Yep, never will. But I've never owned a Roth IRA or 401k, and I never will. Why? Why would I mess around with a Roth with all the strings attached? I'll explain in this episode when I can have a max-funded IUL that has the two benefits of a Roth and 4 additional benefits Roths will never have without all those strings attached. Why would I mess around with a Roth? And you'll see the difference here, and you'll never want to have your money in a Roth if you understand this. So get ready. So I'm Doug Andrew. I've been a financial strategist and retirement planning specialist now for more than 5 decades, helping thousands of Americans optimize their assets, minimize taxes, and empower their authentic wealth. And so if you've watched very many of my episodes, you understand that my favorite financial vehicle, without question, to accumulate your money tax-free and then allow you to access that money income tax-free, even before the age of 59 and a half, including all your gain. And then when you ultimately die, it blossoms, it increases in value and transfers tax-free. Nothing else does that, by the way, in the Internal Revenue Code, is a property structured max-funded IUL. I call it a laser fund. LASER is an acronym that stands for liquid assets, safely earning returns. And so many savvy CPAs and tax attorneys that I teach in advanced continuing education courses go, wow, a max-funded IUL is the rich person's Roth. And I snicker because you don't have to be rich to have an IUL. You can set one up for as little as $500 a month. But see, if you make too much money, you can't even own a Roth, okay? And so people who have a lot of money, they will use a max-funded IUL to have all the benefits of a Roth and a whole lot more that I'll explain in this episode. And so let's get into the nitty-gritty here, first of all, by being general, and then we'll get specific. There are up to 4 places that most Americans draw from. These are resources to generate income during retirement, okay? The first and most common is investment income. This would be IRAs or 401ks, usually invested in the market. Some retirees rely on real estate income, which is okay, but I wouldn't recommend all your eggs be in that basket. Some use guaranteed income. That would include Social Security or a pension if you're a school teacher, or maybe an annuity, okay? The most underutilized, but the best, is the green one, tax-free income. And so let's go through each of these briefly so you understand where Roths fit over here in the green one, but why I will never own one. Now, the purple bucket is where 91% of Americans are way too top-heavy with their retirement assets. They have all or most of their money in yet-to-be-taxed IRAs or 401ks invested where? In the market. And they don't realize that Wall Street was never designed to create predictable income, okay? That's why at-retirement planning is something totally different than what you did for retirement. And I recommend people at least 5 years before retirement perform a strategic rollout. Get the money out of this purple bucket. Get the taxes over and done with sooner than later at today's lower rates, rather than postponing and deferring to the future when taxes will likely be higher. That's stupid, okay? And get it down here to the tax-free bucket and earn better rates of return tax-free. So I recommend at retirement, no more than 30% of your money should come out of that purple bucket. Some people have money in the blue bucket. This is real estate. But many of these people are sick and tired of being landlords, taking out the trash, evicting tenants, and fixing toilets and what have you. And but they're trapped because they've been doing 1031 exchanges, and they don't think they can sell because they're going to have to pay a capital gain tax. Actually, now's the opportunity to do that at the lowest capital gain tax rate you will ever have to pay, because they're going to raise those down the road, I assure you, and they're going to do away with the step-up in basis on long-term capital gains. People are shocked when I show them how to sell their real estate, pay the capital gain tax, and they take the net and put it into the green bucket, and that green bucket now creates as much or more income as their real estate was generating without having to be a landlord anymore. They're like blown away. Now, the orange bucket, this could be Social Security. And so most people think, oh, your money is guaranteed Social Security. Well, as long as the government doesn't go broke. I think it's a train wreck waiting to happen, to be honest with you. You have pensions like school teacher pensions and police officers and firefighters. I have an episode that shows you how you can maximize that. And you shouldn't just take the survivor benefit with that. You should take the no survivor benefit and put the difference in the green bucket. That's called a pension maximization plan. Some people like annuities. An annuity is a savings account with an insurance company, so it passes the safety test pretty good. But most annuities are lower yielding and they're only tax deferred. When you start taking out income, it's now taxable. LIFO, last in, first out. The last money you're earning, the interest, is 100% taxable, okay? So I've never owned an annuity. I doubt I ever will, okay? So my favorite is the green bucket. There are Roths, municipal bonds, and MFTAs. My favorite is the MFTA, Max Funded Tax Advantage Insurance Contract. If it's structured correctly and funded properly, it is deemed a laser fund. Laser means liquid assets, safely earning returns, okay? Now, municipal bonds aren't very popular anymore because they're low yielding and a lot of municipalities are filing bankruptcy. So those aren't so popular. Roths, people, they say, yeah, what about a Roth? If I do a rollout, why don't I just roll over from traditional IRAs and 401ks to a Roth, get the taxes over and done with, and have it tax-free from now on? I go, well, Roths are a step in the right direction, okay? But there's too many strings attached. And they go, really? Oh, and then I have to explain the strings. So stay with me and I'll share those. I recommend that 40 to 60% of your income should not even show up on the front page of your 1040 tax return. The IRS will know you're receiving it, but they'll know it's tax-free, okay? And so that's the green bucket. Now, some of our clients like to have 100% of their income tax-free, okay? But I recommend 40 to 60%, and I'll give you an example here in just a moment. In my book, The Laser Fund, which I want to gift you a copy of here at the end for free, in the orange side, this is actually two books in one. This side is for left brain learners, charts and percentages and graphs. This side are stories. There's several stories in here of how we save school teachers. $250,000 of unnecessary tax doing a roll out of their 403Bs, 401ks, and tax-sheltered annuities to the green bucket. You'll read a story of how we saved a landlord $250,000 and quadrupled his income over what his advisor told him to take out of his IRAs or 401ks with RMDs, okay? We had husband and wife physicians. We saved them $1.2 million of unnecessary tax. And their advisor says, well, they can afford to pay the tax. Well, why don't we ask them? I said, now, frankly, they had accumulated $4.6 million. And by taking RMDs, they were going to pay $2.6 million in tax by stringing it out over their life expectancies and then down to their kids. Minimum, $2.6 million in tax. And their advisor said, well, they can afford to pay $2.6 million in tax. They have $4.6 million. Well, I said, well, I can't save you that, but I can save you $1.2 million. Would you like to do that? They go, yeah, duh, yes. That $1.2 million is invested in a laser fund generating over $100,000 a year of tax-free cash flow into perpetuity for their family. Okay, money that would otherwise have gone down the drain in unnecessary tax if they left it in their 401ks and IRAs. We took a couple in California. They had $6 million in their IRAs or 401ks. They bit the bullet. They said, we want 100% of our income to be tax-free. They rolled out $6 million, paid tax of $2 million. The IRS should have been thrilled instead of having to wait to get small amounts of it at retirement. They paid $2 million in tax, netted $4 million in their laser funds, doubled in 7.5 years to $8 million. They now have had $8 million generating $600,000 to $800,000 a year of tax-free income without depleting principal. They're in a 0% tax bracket. They love it, okay? We had a couple come to us with 2.6 million in their IRAs or 401ks. And they said, we think we can pull out 6% a year. 6% is, I believe it was 160,000 of income out of their IRAs or 401ks. And they had another 40,000 of guaranteed income, a pension or Social Security. They were thumping themselves on the chest. We're going to have 200,000 a year of income in our golden years. I said, way to go. You're in the top 5% of Americans who saved. But I do see one big problem. What's that? It's all showing up on the front page of your 1040 tax return. It's all taxable. You're going to pay at least $54,000 or more in tax every year the rest of your lives. You're only going to net $146,000 to buy gas, groceries, prescriptions, or golf green fees. They said, you mean there's another way? I go, yeah. They said, where have you been? I said, I've been here all along. In 5 years, we rolled out that money. We got 120,000 of the 200,000 to be tax-free. Took it off of their 1040 tax return. Now they only pay tax on 80,000. We save them 32,400 or more a year in tax. They only pay tax now of 21 grand. We will save them between 800,000 to $1 million of unnecessary tax. We do this all the time. That's a rollout. So when I show these on my YouTube channel and teach them in my book and my webinars, people will say, okay, so a rollover is going from the frying pan to the fire. We get it. Taking money out of a 401k, rolling over to an IRA, postponing until you're age 72, 73, taking RMDs, thinking you're saving tax. Yep, you're not. You're increasing your tax. And so the next question they go, well, Doug, what about a Roth? I go, okay. I've never owned a Roth. You know why? Roths only have two benefits. Roths were introduced in 1997, okay? Senator Senator Roth, he said, I want to be a hero here because the government was hard up for tax revenue. And they said, instead of waiting till people retire and we get to tax their IRAs or 401ks, because IRAs or 401ks are the best savings bond the government ever came up with for themselves. And so Senator Roth said, let's motivate people to get it out of there and pay the tax now instead of later in one fell swoop. And it'll be a windfall for us. See, the government passed Roths not for you. They did it for them. But it was a step in the right direction. And so there was a whole bunch of people that rolled money over to Roths. That triggered tax, and they got a huge windfall. The tax revenuers love that. But see, Roths only have two benefits. You fund it with after-tax money, and so it accumulates tax-free, and you can access the money tax-free. Now, match-funded IUL has had those two benefits for over a century in the Internal Revenue Code. Your money accumulates tax-free, and you can withdraw the money tax-free, access it, but that's where it stops with Roths. With match-funded IUL, you have at least 4 major additional benefits. What are they in a nutshell? With your contributions to an IUL laser fund, you can contribute far more money. With a Roth, you can only put in a certain dollar amount or a certain percent of your income. If you make too much money, you can't even own a Roth. That's why savvy CPAs and tax attorneys refer to a max-funded IUL laser fund as the rich person's Roth. Because if you make too much money, you can't even own a Roth, okay? And so it doesn't matter how much money you make. I can set up a max-funded IUL to accommodate $300,000 a year. I can set it up to accommodate $1 million a year. We have some people putting in $100 million per year. Hello? It's the mega wealthy that use this because it's so safe and earns a predictable tax-free rate of return, okay? So you can set one up to put in $300,000. Do you have to put in $300,000? No. You can put in 1/10 that, $30,000. Now, you can make up the other $270,000 anytime you want. In a Roth, if you don't use the little bit of room each year, you lose it, okay? And so these are way more flexible, IUL is. Now, Number 4, if you need to access money for any reason, you can. There's no 10% penalty. There's no tax. If you access money out of a Roth within 5 years or before your age 59 and a half, there's a 10% penalty and you have to pay tax. I don't want to mess with that. With a max-funded IUL, you don't. But see, with IUL, you get to use indexing. If you don't know what that is, search it on my channel. Indexing allows you to benefit and make money when the market, the economy is doing well, when it's going up. But when the market crashes, which it does every at least 7 years, you will not lose one dime. You will not lose one dime due to a market downturn, okay? That's indexing. Roths are usually invested in the market, and you will lose. Some people have lost 40% in 1 year, 30% in 1 month, like during COVID, in the Roths. Our clients with IUL didn't lose a dime during those periods of time. We've had clients who have their real estate equity in these, and when their home went down in value in 2008, or when it got lost in a flood or a hurricane or a fire, they didn't lose one dime because their money wasn't in the property. It was over here, okay? So it's safe. And number 6, Roths don't blossom when you die. What do I mean by that? If you left behind $1 million in a Roth and you died, your family gets just what you leave behind. With an IUL, it blossoms, it increases in value. If I died in an accident tomorrow, I'm 73, every $1 million I might have in a portfolio of laser funds would likely pay out as much as double that, $2 million tax-free within 3 weeks. Double. Why would you leave behind this when you could leave behind double that and have more income tax-free, okay? Well, how much does that cost? Well, nothing's free, but it doesn't cost me anything. See, it's being paid for with a minuscule portion of money. Most people pay out in unnecessary tax or fees with traditional IRAs or 401ks, or even Roths, what they give up with the strings attached with Roths. So why would I mess around with a Roth when I can have the benefits of a Roth, the 2, and 4 additional benefits with none of the strings attached, okay? And so that's what I want you to remember, that as you explore this, the best way to understand this, I don't care if you're a school teacher, police officer, firefighter, you want to utilize the best strategy. So folks, claim a copy of my book, The Laser Fund. This retails for between $20 to $60 on Amazon. If you buy it on Amazon, I thank you, okay? But I'll gift you a copy for free. And so you simply go to laserfund.com or click on the link below, and you contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I require a little bit of skin in the game, okay? And I will pay for the book. I will fire out a hard copy to you of this 300-page book via priority mail. And when you're in there claiming that free copy, if you like to listen and learn or watch and learn, there's those formats available for your investment. But if you want to attend a free educational webinar that we teach on a weekly basis, you'll be blown away with what you learn. But you can even schedule an appointment when you're claiming your free copy to talk to an IUL specialist that will show you how to set it up correctly. Because it's critical you do it the right way with no cost or obligation. So please understand why CPAs and tax attorneys call a max-funded IUL the rich person's Roth, and why I have never owned an IRA, 401k, or a Roth, and I never will.